Colby Lampman here with Homes of Idaho Real Estate, and I am here with Elizabeth Stormberg, and she just recently bought her first home, and so I wanted to schedule this time to talk to Elizabeth and learn more about her journey of buying her first home, so that any of you guys that are considering buying a home help kind of with some of the stumbles, some of the things that she encountered throughout the process, so that you guys can just learn more about things you might encounter. So thanks for being here with us, Elizabeth.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. Buying a home is a huge journey. So I think hearing any and all experiences of how other people went through it is very helpful and awesome.
Awesome. And just so you guys know, if you have any questions for either myself or Elizabeth after this live video, definitely post in the comments or reach out to us. Let us know your questions. And if they're questions for Elizabeth, I'd be happy to get the answers for you from her. Questions for me. So don't be afraid to ask questions either now as we're going along in the video or after. Feel free to throw us your questions. So I'm just going to shoot off the first question to you, Elizabeth. And so first one is, what was the first step you took in your home buying journey?
Yeah, so I'd say first, the decision was kind of the very first step, right? We made that decision, like we are tired of renting, and kind of went through the numbers about how much we were spending renting versus how much it would be to buy. So I think that was kind of the very first decision. Secondly, though, I've heard that sometimes it's better to hook up with a lender first so that you can kind of get your pre-approval, everything like that down as the first step. We actually met with our realtor first, picked out a realtor first, because we did not know, we didn't even know where to start, to be honest. We were completely lost. So we're like, let's just find somebody who knows what they're talking about and can help guide us through the process. So that was really the first step, was actually finding a real estate agent and just making sure that we had that expertise and kind of somebody to guide us through the rest of it.
Awesome. Very cool. And yeah, definitely the renting versus buying, anytime you weigh out those options, if you can qualify, if you can purchase, speaking with an expert in that area. So it sounds like you did just that, reached out to an agent. That agent connected you then with a lender who was able to help you guys figure out budget and price point and those kind of things. So very cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to fire off the next question to you. What were some of the things that you considered as you were looking at homes?
So we have two little girls. So that was enough room was really kind of the biggest thing. So keeping our budget in mind, we knew that we had to find somewhere that it had at least 3 bedrooms, so that we had enough room and some room to grow if anybody needed to share rooms or anything like that. That was a big thing. Another thing that we considered pretty heavily was location. My husband works downtown, but my family and everybody else like that is in a different part of the city, pretty far away from downtown. So he wanted to live closer to work. I wanted to live closer to family so that we had babysitters and things like that. And so that was a little bit point of contention for us, but ultimately that we decided to live closer to family. He could make the drive to work, and so location. Once we decided that we wanted to live closer to family, it was really kind of narrowing down specific neighborhoods and going off safety factors, school districts, and pretty much our kids were top of mind when choosing what home we wanted to buy first. Some other things were that it had a fence was a pretty big selling point for us, because we do have a dog, and we wanted to have plenty of room for her to run around. And then age of the home, not so much the age, but the upkeep of the home was something that we looked at as well, making sure that air conditioner, furnace, and all of that were at least somewhat new, which we ended up actually getting a house that the air conditioner was about 15 years old, and we did have to replace about a month after we moved in. So that was something that didn't exactly work out in the way we planned, but it was something that we definitely took into consideration when starting our home search. Kind of the aesthetics were less important because we figured that if there's anything that we didn't like with the look of the house, we could always change it. We ended up getting something that was pretty move-in ready, and I'm happy that we did, because as I was like, oh, I'm so ready to take on a fixer-upper. We can make this our own. I'm glad that we didn't, just because we have two little kids, and going through that would have just we would have been a lot busier than we already are.
Yeah. So the air conditioner, you said, went out soon after.
Yeah.
And what was the weather like? So it was pretty hot days. Were you guys
Oh
toasted
yeah.
until you got that fixed? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's August I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, so it's pretty humid. Luckily we had a couple of, low 80s days, so it wasn't terrible. Um, but yeah, it went out on a Sunday. Couldn't get it fixed until Friday. So had about a week of staying, which then again, so close. We decided to live near family because we had to go stay a couple of nights with my mom and my sister-in-law, just to stay out of the heat, because it was very muggy in the house and not comfortable at all.
Yeah. Now, a home warranty. I don't know. Did you get a home warranty when you bought your house at all?
We did not.
Okay. So that is one thing, I guess, for our viewers. Word of advice is, there are obviously an inspection is going to come back with things that may happen. They're not a crystal ball. Inspectors will identify problems to your home that exist currently and that they can identify currently. I recently had it happen where the buyer closed during the winter, and you can't test an air conditioning unit in the wintertime, because if you run the air conditioner in the winter, you will freeze up the air conditioner. So your home inspector cannot inspect the air conditioner in the wintertime. So anytime you end up in that situation where the home inspector is going to identify problems that exist currently, but if it's the middle of winter, you're not going to be able to test your air conditioning unit. If it's the middle of summer, then obviously they're not going to test all the components with like the furnace and stuff. So a home warranty might be a good option to consider if you're, anytime really. I mean, a home warranty will cover appliances if appliances break. A home warranty will cover things like that, like the furnace, the air conditioner. So considering, in addition to getting a home inspection, getting a home warranty. But hopefully you guys found a good, reputable contractor that was able to help you out. And
we did, but yes, rookie mistake. So yeah, definitely rookie mistake of first time home buying, that we didn't get that home warranty. Just kind of, I remember, briefly talking about it, our inspector talking about it, and just kind of being like, we're good. Our home's only 15 years old. It's not, in terms of homes, it's not old, but for some of the appliances, we didn't think too much about that.
Yeah. And when it comes to your agent, a lot of times, probably any questions you have, you often went to your agent, kind of bounce those questions off. Did you know your air conditioner guy, or was that somebody that was referred to you? Or
so actually, when we got our air conditioner replaced, we had originally called like a pretty big name place in our area, and they quoted us like almost $6,000 to replace it, and we just didn't know if that was a correct price, or so we actually did turn to our agent just to be like, is this right? Should we be using this person? And she actually gave us the name of somebody else who did it a little bit cheaper for us,
cool.
and that she knew and trusted. So again, always going to I'm sure you are available for your clients as well, but I think it's great, even after the sale is made, to know that you can still count on your agent to help guide you through not only the home buying process, but the home owning process as well.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that is an important thing for you guys to know as you step into wanting to purchase a home, is that Elizabeth did the right thing, kind of started out, you either want to go straight to a mortgage lender that you guys know, or to a real estate agent who can then recommend a mortgage lender. And when it comes to a lot of the hurdles of home ownership and some the need for other services in relation to your home, a lot of times your real estate agent will have access to resources and meet people and kind of track record reputation from using the same people over and over again and finding out who's good in certain fields. So we, over the years, just a lot of times clients have things come up and we end up having to track down good electricians, good plumbers, good handymen that can do simple repairs on home inspections or replace a window or air conditioning, furnace, roofing, all that stuff. A lot of times your real estate agent, if they've been in the business or if they work for, a lot of times, the agents that maybe don't have access to that information will go to their broker. I'm a broker here at Homes of Idaho, and we often collaborate, us agents, on like who's good in certain areas and have access to like a vendors list that we can provide to our clients of the people that we would recommend for certain things, or home warranties, or inspectors, or anything like that. So definitely don't be afraid to lean on your agent when it comes time to need some sort of thing done at your house that you're not sure who to call. Safest thing to do is get a hold of your agent, and your agent might have a good connection for you, a good resource, so you're not just calling those big names out there that are going to gouge you on price.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to move on to the next question here. What was your most frustrating part of the process?
So I think that one of the most frustrating parts was I thought that, we would look at a couple houses, we would find the one we want, put in an offer, and, it'd be done. It'd be ours. I didn't take into account how competitive the market was in, we were looking April, May of, so springtime, really didn't take into account how competitive the market was. And with us being, first-time home buyers, we're looking, and younger couple, we were looking at a lower price point where a lot of people are looking. So it was very competitive, and that was something that I did not expect. Going into showings and having, multiple people there to look at the house as well at the same time, and then putting in offers. And there was one house that we put an offer on that had 32 offers. So I think it was just really frustrating. It wasn't as easy as, oh, we like this house, we can afford this house, let's get this house. There was a lot of competition that we really had to go through. And I think we lost out on a total of like 6 or 7 homes, which I was not expecting at all. So it was really, really frustrating losing out on a whole bunch of houses. The one we ended up getting, there were only two offers, and like we saw it that day. It went on the market that day, and we put an offer in that night and got accepted. So that was really nice that it was just a one-day thing. But on some of them where they were waiting to look at offers for days, and then so many would come through, we just didn't have a chance. So that was really, really frustrating.
Yeah. That's often, unfortunately, a common tactic in a competitive market with sellers, is that they will sit over the weekend and wait for other offers to roll in until they get multiple offers, try to create a bidding war, things like that. And anytime it's a seller's market, it's pretty much, there's some markets that are softening up, but definitely still here in our market, sounds like in your market, definitely still a very competitive seller's market. And, with that, strategizing with your agent, coming up with ideas and ways to maybe motivate the seller. There's other things you can do, and different agents, obviously have different strategies. One thing that we talk about is like an escalation clause. Did you use an escalation clause ever in your offer? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, we used those on a couple offers too. So, but
Yeah,
again, there were just so many
they're so
people.
competitive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm happy that eventually it worked out. And
Yeah.
tell me this: now that you're in the home that you're in, do you think about any of the other houses that you made offers on and regret not getting one of those, or is the house that you got the perfect one, the one that was better than all the other ones you lost out on?
Um, so that question I've actually thought about a lot. So, I love the location that we ended up getting. It was literally my perfect location. It's like 5 minutes from my mom. It's in a great school district. So it's a little bit outside of the city. So it's a smaller town feel. I mean, with still all the city access and everything like that. So I love the location. Um, the one that had the 32 offers, so obviously it was awesome, but it was bigger, so it had a lot more room to for our family to grow. We have big extended like my husband has a large family and they're from Wisconsin, so entertaining them would have been better. So there are aspects that I am still a little sore about one house in particular, but I think that overall the house that we ended up getting was the better fit just for our children. I think for the school district, being close to my mom and everything like that. So yes, I still miss one of the houses,
Yeah.
but it was
And
probably the best decision.
maybe it's a blessing that you got a house that's smaller, that relatives can't just come crash on you and crash your
That
parade.
yeah,
Yeah.
that they've actually his parents have been here quite a few times over the summer, and yeah, they always stay with his sister with my husband's sister. I'm like, sorry, we just don't have the room, which I would love to have them, but I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I get out of entertaining though. I don't have to,
Yeah.
do all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is a
Cool.
little bit of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So I guess moral of that is usually in any case where we have offers, and it takes a while to find the right house, or you're making other offers or things like that, I would say almost all of the time in the situation that you were in, that a lot of times, people lose out on an offer and they don't get an offer accepted, and it's super frustrating. It's super um, defeating almost for some buyers to miss out on a offer that they make on a house and think, oh my gosh, that was the perfect house. I'm never going to find anything like it. And it's amazing how, the house they end up getting, there's usually no regrets over, that, because just seems like everything tends to work out, and
Falls
you
perfectly in
miss out on
line.
one, and there's going to be another one that's going to come up later that's going to either be better or comparable to the one that was missed out on. And so, moral is, don't, I guess, let yourself get defeated or frustrated or give up and throw in the towel when you don't get one house.
Yeah, there are a couple times, like, when we're like, all right, this is just not working out. Like, maybe we should just wait until the fall when it won't be
Yeah.
so competitive. Right. But no, exactly. I'm glad that we kept looking and ended up where we ended up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. You just get back up, you dust off, and you try again, right?
hmm There's
So,
always houses being listed. There's always be something else. Yeah.
exactly. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, let's move on to, was there anything that surprised you?
Um, so the competitiveness surprised me and frustrated me. Another thing that surprised me was how much, when we did hook up with our lender, how much paperwork they need. Like, I mean, I know that, they've got to really do their due diligence, but like bank statements, pay stubs, just a whole bunch of stuff. So I kind of wish that we had been a little bit more prepared, that we had known to gather that we're going to have to go get our tax statements, all of this stuff, to turn in to our lender when we go, because it was we kind of ended up on a goose chase. Like, all right, we got to get these papers. Where are these papers and these documents and all of that? So, yeah, it just how rigorous kind of the mortgage applying can be. And I think it can be really easy if you have literally all of your documents in line, but we just didn't, because we didn't realize that that was all something that we needed. So that really surprised me, is how not easy it was to apply for the mortgage, I think, on our end. And mostly because of our fault for not being as prepared as we could have been with all of our documents. But
Gotcha. Yeah, that tends to be pretty common. So what you experienced is pretty common as far as a frustration or a surprise to people, is that, you know, all the hoops that you have to jump through from the mortgage aspect are a lot more extensive and rigorous. And it's like, oh, do you need my blood type and my this and my that?
right.
You know, it's like,
Do I need to give you my left kidney? I don't
yeah,
know. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like very invasive, almost like, what was this charge and what was that charge in your bank
Yes.
statement? And yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Not only are you giving them your statements, but then they're asking you about like all of
yeah,
this. You're like, all right, it's getting a little personal here.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess one word of advice I can give on that aspect is that lenders will check your credit in the beginning, and they will check your credit again at the end. And you know, a rookie mistake, which it sounds like, you know, you definitely didn't have this problem, was changing your finances during the process. So you don't want to go out and reward yourself with a new car and a new car loan before you close on your home. And you don't want to go out and pull a new credit card to go buy stuff for your house, even though you want to decorate your house and get things ready. And you
Don't
may
do that
have
till after you close, right?
you wait till after you close. So lenders will look and relook and recheck and pry into everything during the process. So it is invasive, but it's definitely, you know, that's one word of advice I can give, is just know that, make sure if your lender doesn't explain it to you, which some lenders aren't as detailed and thorough as they should be, and they don't tell you, okay, here's what not to do and what you should do, and ways to improve or afford, go over things as thorough as in detail as others. And so just knowing that, good communication with your lender, knowing that you can't change your situation if you still want to qualify for that same price point. You can't go out and borrow more money elsewhere for home improvements or credit card or a new car or anything like that. And buyers have made that mistake, and it definitely messes up their loans. So always asking questions. There's never enough questions. I know me as an agent, I'm never going to get frustrated with too many questions from clients. I want them to feel totally comfortable, totally confident. And so no question's a dumb question when it comes to a question for your agent or your mortgage lender.
Yeah, perfect. And the other thing, just one piece of advice, I would be more organized in your everyday life so that you know where all these documents are. Just to be prepared for when you go. Yes.
I'm guilty of that. I might have in the camera view a clean desk right here, but you don't want to know what's over here.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So that's totally, yeah, normal, I
It
guess.
happens.
Yep.
It's okay.
Okay. So another question: how does it feel owning your own home now? Now that you closed, I think you said June.
June 21st.
You've been almost 2 months in your house. So good time frame to kind of get a feel for, okay, what have these last 2 months been like? I know one thing was your air conditioner went out, which is,
Yes.
it's an unfortunate thing to happen right away. But I guess overall, yeah, go ahead and share with us
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It really is just not having to, I mean, I don't want to say feel obligated, but almost like obligated, or, like you're being watched almost if you're renting. Not that you're being watched, but like there's just pressure to, oh my, don't ruin anything. Like be very, because, we can't paint these walls. We can't, this isn't our house. It's just it's not our house feeling if you're renting a house or an apartment. I mean, for me, I can feel at home there, but I know that this ultimately I'm going to leave this place and somebody else is going to come live here, and it's expected to look just as it did before I came in. So there's no really personal touches that you can make or anything like that. So I think that part of it is huge. Just we haven't done too much yet. We've still kind of making sure everything's unpacked, which I still have a few boxes I have not unpacked yet. But we have plans to add in a patio and a fire pit and add shutters to the windows and really, just do all of these things that are really going to make it our own home that we can do because it's ours. We do have an HOA, so we'll have to follow their specifications, but it's just a lot more freedom to do what we want. Also, it's just, feels like an accomplishment. It just feels like, all right, check mark. There's something else we've done in our life that we've been working toward. And we're 27, so we're about right on track with where a lot of people are, or maybe even a little bit ahead. So that's a good feeling too. Just knowing that we're kind of, not that life is like a straightforward line of this is what you need to do when, or anything like that, but just having that little piece checked off too. It's like, all right, we're doing adulthood. We're doing it fine. We're there. So yeah, I think that's awesome. The downsides are, yes, when your air conditioner goes out, you can't call your landlord and say, sir, I'm sorry, can you get this fixed for us?
Yeah.
And things like that. We have to, pay our HOA. We have to keep up with the yard work, all of that kind of stuff ourselves. So it's a little bit more work, but I think it's a lot more rewarding as well because it's the work that we're putting in. And we know that we're not just paying somebody else's mortgage. We're paying down our own debt, and, hopefully can make a profit off of that at some point. So it feels just like a much smarter financial decision in the long run.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that's probably a lot of people's reservation of trying to buy houses, the maintenance and the responsibility and what you might have to invest into owning your home. And like you said, if your air conditioner goes out, it's on you. But then I love the word you use, that it's in the long run a lot more rewarding. You can personalize it, you can make it your house, and anything that you put into your home ultimately is helping you. And instead of paying somebody else's mortgage, you're paying your own house off. And so to look at it through that lens and like the appreciation and the value and how that's going to go up over time. And so instead of living in a home where you're not ever, the money you're paying out is just flushing down the toilet the minute it's gone, versus when you fix your air conditioner, hey, at least you replaced it. And when you sell your home down the road, now it's got an air conditioner that's not, 20 years old. It's maybe only 5 years old or whatever. And so you're definitely putting your money into an investment that's going to, in the long run, turn around to benefit you. So, yeah, I definitely love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So another question is, what resources did you use to help you find your home? So obviously, things have changed, time with real estate, where you kind of get information from, but what was kind of the main things that you latched onto when you were needing to find a home?
Yeah. So first of all, I think that family, my agent was recommended to me through my aunt who does title work. So that, and then kind of just hearing the rest of my family and, giving their advice, or like, oh, I know that this area is really good, or this school is really good. And family and friends, I think, was first the number one resource that I went to, just hearing what other people had to say. Then and our agent, hearing what she what she had to say, and the homes that she pulled for us just based on kind of what we said we were looking for. And then of course, I mean, I was on all of the apps every day, like look
Yeah.
at like, all right, what pictures can I look at today? And I think that um, it was nice doing that because we were able to cross off a lot of homes that were like, okay, definitely don't want to see that, just based on, which probably based on the pictures isn't always the way to go, but we were able to kind of sort through homes that way. Um, and when we saw something available, we were able to reach out to our agent and say like, hey, this is something that we'd like to see. But yeah, pretty much any app that you can think of that has like listings from the MLS, I was on it, looking, like getting updates on every month, which I'll be honest, this is something that I've stayed away from since we bought our home, just because I don't want to look at anything and be like, oh, that house is great. But
Yeah.
even before that, I mean, for years, I just like to look at real estate. So that was nothing. I already was on all of those apps for a long time, but I definitely had all the notifications set up and everything like that to buzz at me when something new available came on. So those were some of the resources that I used to really narrow down our search. But again, I think my agent and just family were the biggest helps, especially to kind of hone down all right, I looked at 53 houses today and I want to go see them all. Like I think my agent and was able to be like, okay, these are the ones that are worth looking at that I think that you'll like. So that helped a lot.
Did your agent ever tell you about a home or introduce you to a house that you didn't find in your apps and stuff?
Yeah. There were a few that she either had, somebody had just listed it within her company or whatever, and or hadn't listed it quite yet, and we got kind of the first look. There are a couple of those, and then a couple, I think, just like for sale by owners that just weren't listed on some of those apps and things like that. So, or just her inside sources that she knew. So yeah, there were quite a few. And actually the house that we ended up buying, I don't know how, but I mean, I know how. She's the agent, she's the expert, of course, but she actually mentioned it to me first. I did later find it on one of those apps, like, a couple hours before we went to go look at it, but she actually notified me about it first. Like, hey, this is an area that I know you like, so let's go look at this.
Very nice. Yeah, that's really good. You kind of made the points that I was going to kind of touch on, which is that there's a lot of really helpful resources online. There's more access to the public than there ever has been for like real estate information from some of the big like you said, the big apps and the big websites and stuff that provided property information. There's a lot of really cool ways that consumers can sort of doing their own searching and stuff, but ultimately there's still so much value, so much benefit in choosing an agent, getting connected with an agent, and then having that agent really dig deep for available properties, because by the time they hit the big apps and the big websites and stuff, the syndication with the MLS, the agents will have access to that information faster than some of the public websites will. So they'll hit the MLS, the agent will get the information first, and then it could take hours or longer, sometimes days, for the property information to hit some of those websites that the clients might be using. And then by the time the client sees it on those websites, then it could already have offers on it, whereas the agents are helping introduce these properties to the clients prior to them hitting those big websites, because they find out about them either internally through other agents within their brokerage, or they find out about these properties because the MLS sends the information out faster. And a lot of, we have our own app and our own tools and our own website that we connect our consumers with when they decide to partner with us to help them with their home searching, that gives them the information instantly through our MLS syndication. We can get that information out to them a lot faster that way. So when they're using our apps and our website where we have a direct link to our local MLS that gets the information out faster. And then, a lot of the big websites, they kind of get the information through a third party that helps them get the information. So it takes longer for them to get the information to their site because the MLS sends it out to a third party. That third party then sends it out to some of those public websites, and the information takes longer to get there versus our website. The MLS is available immediately within seconds instead of hours. So,
and that's especially in like a competitive market, like I was talking about, that's so important just to be the first, be the first or one of the first to know about it, because if it's something that's on Zillow or whatever else, like everybody else has access to that right now, and everybody else that's looking is getting those notifications. So I think, yeah, it's super important to be like tied in with an agent who can get you those first beforehand.
Yeah, I think at least at the point when you become serious and you're really becoming serious, I think early on when it's just like, hey, maybe we'll
shopping,
we'll move or whatever, that stuff's great. But when you really get serious, it's really important to get tied into an agent to start giving yourself an advantage over all the other buyers that are tripping over the same house. So definitely. So yeah, I think, aside from that, like the move in and stuff like that, how was like getting, I guess, moved in and like closing day?
Yeah.
This is a question that wasn't on our question sheet, but I thought I'd just throw it out there. Closing day is always that day that's anticipated and like, oh my gosh, it's going to be closing day. And like, how did that closing day go for you? What was like kind of some of the, I guess, the preparation, and then also kind of how that day kind of unfolded for you?
Yeah, it actually went really smoothly. We closed at about like 9 a.m. I was like, I want to do it as early as possible because I want everything moved this day. Like I want to be completely moved in. So, yeah, it went really smoothly. I had our house like literally, except for our beds, everything was packed up. For the week prior, and then on closing day we went in and it was really, really laid back and easy. We went, sat down. My aunt she was out of town actually for the closing, but she kind of had gone over a lot of the paperwork with me prior, just to be like, here's what they're all going to go over, so that we could be a little bit more prepared and not maybe have as many questions during closing, so that we could speed up the process a little bit. But when we actually went to closing, yeah, it was really laid back. It was, again, that was something else that I was really surprised about, just how much there is to go over and to sign. And I mean, my hand was hurting by the end of it. Yeah, like signature here, initials here, and date this. And so there was a lot of that, but I think overall it went pretty quickly. And when it was done, we got our keys, and my husband and I, first, before we went and got the kids or got the moving truck or anything like that, we just went and went into the house and opened it up, and we just laid on the floor. And we're like, all right, this is ours. This is all ours. Like no furniture or anything in it. And then the cleaning lady showed up, so we're like, all right, we'll go get our stuff now. But yeah, it was really, really smooth. Super, super exciting. I had it. Closing day to me kind of felt like Christmas morning, sort of. It's just that like, super exciting. You're opening a gift, and it's a new house that you had to buy yourself. But it was awesome. Yeah, super laid back, really great, honestly.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny. I actually had a client that really wanted to be moved in by Christmas, and it didn't appear like it was going to happen. And our title company was able to squeeze them in. They opened for like a half day on Christmas Eve, and we were able to go in first thing in the morning, like 8 a.m., sign the papers, and they were able to get their keys on Christmas Eve and make that a true Christmas present to be able to move in. So
that's awesome.
How long? So you signed at 9 a.m. How long did it take for you to get keys after that?
I want to say it was right around an hour, probably, maybe a little bit less. Like it was, like I said, we kind of went through the paperwork before with my aunt. So we kind of, any questions that we had, we got answered beforehand. Most of them, we still had a little bit of clarification here and there, but yeah, it was probably right about an hour. It
Did they
wasn't,
give you the keys there on the spot at the title company?
actually, they had the girl who, so I actually ended up, and I didn't know this until after we had made the offer on the house, signed, the contract, everything like that. But the girl that I bought the house from, I actually went to middle school with.
Oh,
So,
cool.
we met her the night before, kind of on the walkthrough, and she just left the keys there for us. So we didn't go in or anything before we had that, which, we had a closing right at 9 a.m. So we had the keys already. She gave them to us at
Hey, that's
walkthrough.
cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so we didn't
So,
have to wait for them or anything. We had them ready to go.
so just to set the expectation for the people watching, traditionally, that's not how it usually happens.
Yeah.
Traditionally, you sign either in the morning and you get the keys later that afternoon when everything funds and records at the county, and the funding and recording occur. Or if you sign the day before, then sometimes by that next morning they can get everything recorded fairly early and get you keys. But when you don't have a relationship with the seller, that obviously made things easier. But yeah, traditionally you get the keys when the seller gets their money, which usually doesn't happen right on the spot as you're signing the papers. So the HGTV, like, hey, we just signed and now we have our keys, and the things that you guys see on television, things don't actually work that way. In the real world, buying a house usually is, you set the expectation, because some realtors I've heard don't share this information with their client, and the client shows up at closing, they sign the closing papers, and they say, okay, where's my keys? And then they find out, oh, you're not going to get them until this afternoon. So communication is key.
Yeah.
And asking that question, just because you're signing at one time doesn't mean the keys are going to be available or given to you and released right away.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because I didn't, just because my situation was a little bit different, where, like I said, like I didn't know her well, like we didn't keep in good contact, but we were friends in middle school. So she's like, yeah, here's the keys. Like, we kind of were talking throughout the process before closing. We bought a couple of items of her furniture that was just going to stay there. So for me, it was really nice. Omaha's a big, small town. So it was a nice little surprise there. But yeah, I would have been so sad if I would have expected to have my keys right when I signed, and they're like, no, not yet. I would have been so sad if I didn't know that.
Come back later. What about inspection? Did you ever have anything come up on the inspection that the seller needed to fix?
No, there was actually, aside from, like I said, the furnace and the air conditioner being a little bit older, which we didn't ask her to fix or anything. But other than that, I mean, the house was in really good condition. There were a couple things with sealing the I think the toilet was a little bit jiggly or something. So like sealing that back down to the floor, a couple little things like that were noted on the inspection, and she did get those fixed before we moved in too. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very cool.
It was a pretty good process, and I say a lot of it honestly was, I really liked my agent. I felt like it was a good fit, and I trusted her, and I know that that's kind of the same for you guys in your market. It's having a good agent is everything. So people should definitely reach out to you guys if they're even thinking about buying a home. Don't do it without an agent. Don't do it. It would be horrible.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, awesome, guys. Yeah. Appreciate everybody that has tuned in and watched the video. I'm sure some of you will probably tune in later, maybe after the live video is already over, see the video at a later time when we're not on live. Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions at all. And again, if your question is more for the buyer or for the agent, or however, for a mortgage lender, any of that stuff, we can help you get connected, get the answers that you guys are looking for. and just want to be a resource for you guys. Appreciate Elizabeth going live and setting
Yeah, of
aside some
course.
time to kind of help everyone else out there watching, kind of hear about her experience and reasons
My
for
rookie
buying.
mistakes.
Yep, rookie mistakes, or kind of just the mindset that you have to put yourself in as you decide to take that step forward. So, but yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and again, let us know anything at all that that you guys need. Any questions that you have, feel free to comment or reach out direct. You can always get a hold of us at homesofidaho.com. That's homesofidaho.com, and love to help anyone who's thinking about taking that step forward.